Hey everybody, welcome back to James Draws Everything. Continuing today, drawing every country in the world's flag, and doing a pretty small country. It's one of the smallest countries in the Western Hemisphere. We're doing the little tiny island of Grenada. Right, so Grenada is a little bit north of Trinidad and Tobago, and I'll just be honest. Other than the United States invading this country, right, in the Reagan days, I really don't know anything about it, and I don't think you do either. So let's both figure out what's going on down here. What's happening in Grenada? All right, so it's home to Carib peoples prior to the arrival of Christopher Columbus. Columbus's third voyage. He actually doesn't go to the island, though. He just he names it Concepcion, but that name does not stick, of course. So they name it Grenada, right after the Andalusian city in Spain. So this country, they couldn't really get things going there as far as like a colony, like. Took a couple hundred years, or actually about 100 years, from when Columbus first arrived before they actually set something up there. So the French settled Grenada in the 17th century, and kind of a lot of similar stories with these Caribbean countries, right? Sugar, coffee, and cocoa. This country, though, is actually kind of known for its nutmeg production. I guess like most of the world's nutmeg actually comes from Grenada. So the island of spices, they also call it. So I like nutmeg. So eating cookies or something, you can thank Grenada. And it actually has the nutmeg on the flag too, which is pretty crazy. But we'll get to that in a minute. Pretty complicated one too. This is one of those flags where it's like there's a lot going on in it, right? So kind of reminds me of like what was the other Caribbean country we did? Dominica, right? So that one was pretty busy. So you got like a frame, a flag within a frame with all sorts of stuff on it. All right, and then here, this little nutmeg thing. I'm gonna bet, and again, we're almost done here, right? I don't have too many more flags left, but something tells me this is probably the only flag I'm gonna draw with nutmeg on it. I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's only going to be Grenada here. Okay, so with the French colonizing the place, right, of course, that means African slaves are brought there. The Great Britain takes the island in 1762. That's kind of like a concession of the 7 Years' War. And they really expand the sugar production in that area. And in 1967, Great Britain grants this island autonomy over its internal affairs, right? And kind of not really being like a Commonwealth country, but sort of in that orbit. Britain, they take care of they take care of the big stuff, right? And Grenada's just left to do their own thing at home. So they do try to get some things going with like Jamaica and some other islands in that area. They try to set up like a federation of Caribbean states, but it doesn't really go anywhere. And leading up to the late 70s, the 80s. That's where things start to get interesting. All right, so 1979, a leftist movement, the New Jewel movement, they seized power under Maurice Bishop, which ushers in the Grenada Revolution. And if you've ever never seen Bishop, I recommend watching him, because he's kind of one of those guys where it's like, you know how I don't know, there's kind of like that Hollywood saying where if somebody really important walks into a room, right, you don't even have to know who they are, but like you just point at them and say, like, I don't know who that is, but there's something about that guy, he's got a swagger, I know he's somebody important. Well, Maurice Bishop definitely had that. Very gifted speaker, very charismatic leader. And so Cuba, right? They were already communist during this time. And before we get to that, we'll just talk a little bit about the movement there with like the New Jewel movement. So Bishop and his New Jewel movement, they overthrow the government of Eric Gary, who was the first prime minister of Grenada. So they seized power in a coup, and they established the People's Revolutionary Government. And then this is kind of one of those cases of sort of the left eating their own. The People's Revolutionary Army, they actually assassinate Bishop. Right, so you got like different factions of communists here going to war with each other. Let's see here. And that actually leads to an invasion, right, by the United States. So a little bit of a mismatch there, but yeah. So this is kind of one of those U.S. wars. Like we had like soft power being projected into like a lot of regions in Latin America, or kind of like proxy wars. Cuba, right? There was the Bay of Pigs invasion. This was like an actual war. That we sent in troops to fight. So Grenada. So it's kind of important, right? Because you don't really think of the United States being at war with its neighbors as late as like the late 70s, early 80s, right? That's still fairly recent, right? Recent memory. And yeah, so the communists there, right? Or maybe they weren't communists, maybe they were, who knows? But either way, they were receiving aid from Cuba, right? From Castro's Cuba. Right, so and Maurice Bishop as well. He talked a lot about the United States, right, and how hypocritical they were. He was very critical of like the Pinochet regime in Chile. Right? He said that was like, basically just a U.S. op, which I don't agree with. It's actually a lot more complicated than that. And a lot of people disagree with me on that, but whatever. Go watch my Chile episode. And so it's a country with kind of a troubled past, right? But we enforced. You were serious about like the Monroe Doctrine back then, right? So we do not want communism in this part of the world. Right? So the United States went in and they put a stop to that. And it wasn't just the United States. There was 6 other Caribbean countries as well, and a lot of Cubans as well. Not on our side, but they, like when they overthrew this kind of rogue government, there was a lot of Cuban advisors there. So they reestablished rule of law, democratic elections, and they've continued pretty much ever since. But yeah, just kind of just one of them oddballs, right? Like, just a kind of interesting historical curiosity, right? The time that the United States went to war with a Caribbean country. Yeah, as you can tell, this is a busy one. Right? We got a whole lot going on in this flag. It's got those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little yellow stars in the frame. Yellow stars, the bane of my existence. I always hate drawing them stars. So Grenada, I guess it actually is part of the Commonwealth, right? So they had those British ties. So technically, King Charles III, right, is the king of Grenada, right? He's just the head of state, though. Grenada does have a prime minister that takes care of the local affairs. Okay, and you can already tell I'm probably gonna have to switch, because I think with my red here, I'm kind of losing some of that ink on the thin side, so we'll use one of these. We just have to get those stars. All right. Just gotta concentrate here for a second, guys. And then as I'm doing this, so Grenada, right? I guess they're part of the Caribbean. So when we're grouping these, I guess we would call this North America, right? United States, Canada, Mexico, Central America, and then all the Caribbean countries, right? So basically, Panama and up. And I'm trying to think, what do we still have to do for North America? I know we gotta do them United States, right? Of course we can't forget that one. I'm trying to think though, do I have any other? Oh, I have to do Trinidad and Tobago. I know I have to do that one. We've got the 3 Saint countries. We've got Haiti and the Dominican Republic. We got Cuba. And then I'm trying to think of Central America. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 that we got in there. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Light at the end of the tunnel. This is another Christmassy flag too, a little bit, right? We got the red and the green with those yellow stars. All right, so close this off. Grenada. All right, and then what does the flag mean? So, got a lot. All right, so red border around the flag, 7 stars, right? 3, 3, and then 1 in the center. And that's again, that's a nutmeg pod, right? So the only flag on it so far with nutmeg. And the 7 stars, 7 administrative regions of the island. The central star is the capital, St. George. Yellow represents the sun and the warmth of the people. The green stands for that lush, rich vegetation, agriculture. And then the red symbolizes harmony, unity, and courage. All right, so kind of a busy flag there. And that's Grenada. And let me know what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next video.